Welcome to Smash Writing. We are reviewing the 2018 hit series on Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House. Recently we did a original versus remake. We gave the original, which stuck close to the book, and I praised it for that. Because if you're going to go away from the source material, this is how you do it.
Well, I think, I can't remember, this could be just me mistaken. They have The Haunting of Hill House and a few other of Shirley Jackson's works intermingled in the series. I could be wrong, though.
Maybe, but the overall source material
Yeah.
is completely different from how the show portrayed it. But if you want to change something up, this is how you do it. Go ahead and break it down.
Well, it's 10 episode series, I believe, 10 episodes.
Yep, 10 episodes, about an hour each.
We're following around the one family. And it's broken down into two timelines. When they were kids and dealing with the house, and now that they're adults. And being pulled back toward the house and everything that happened to them while they were at the house. And the first few episodes, we deal with each kid and we get their each perspective of events and what's happening now in their lives. We start off with Steve, the asshole. We'll be fighting over this. The second episode is Shirley.
Yep.
She's become a mortician, kind of deal. We learn about what happened with her and these kittens and when her mom died and seeing her mom, and that's what led her to be a mortician. All the while, start this over again. Because the one sibling in the first episode died, Nell. And Steve sees the ghost of Nell. She refuses to see Steve in hell. The second episode is surrounding Shirley, like I said, and she's doing the... she's preparing the body, Nell's body.
Yeah.
And then the third episode is Theo's. We learn that Theo is, I don't want to say psychic, she can sort of see...
She's sensitive, as they call it.
By touch, feel. So she wears gloves and all of that. She is a frat boy through and through. She lives in Shirley's guest house. And at the end of the episode, she touches Nell's body. And she starts screaming, but we don't know why or what she saw until later on. Episode 4 is Luke. Luke is Nell's twin brother.
In order by 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
We learn from him the twin thing. When one thing happens to one twin, the other twin can feel it. I really love that episode. He's a recovering addict. He's 90 days clean. And in the first episode, when we actually meet adult Luke, he's stealing from Steve, who deserves it. But, we learn in...
You're taking non-stop shots at Steve.
Every moment of this episode will be an assault on Steve.
If he brings up Steve's name, it's an assault.
But we learned that he was stealing because he's trying to help another addict find a place to stay because she ran from recovery and he followed. So neither of them can go back to the rehab center. He's trying to get her a place to stay the night and she ends up robbing him. Then he gets mugged and he's beaten up and his shoes are stolen. But throughout this episode he's getting colder and colder and his bones are aching and sore. He's experiencing death because Nell died. And he finally breaks down. He's calling this rehab center. He's desperate for help because he doesn't know what's going on. And Steve is at the rehab center and he comes to pick him up and we see the ghost of his mother calling him home. And we learn the importance of counting. He counts to 7. That's 5 siblings and 2 parents. But Steve picks him up to tell him that Nell killed herself because they believe it was suicide because she was found hung. But he does not believe that. Episode 5 is all about Nell. And all as we're going along, we're seeing dips and portions of childhood. And Nell's being haunted by a ghost of a bent neck lady, is what she calls her, because her neck is bent, but you can't see her because she's in shadow. And we learned that Nell had been married to a nice doctor that she met who was trying to help her through her sleep paralysis. And he died of an aneurysm. But that night she saw the bent neck lady and believes it's the house and the bent neck lady on her new quack of a therapist who was played by Luke from the OG.
Oh, good little call there.
And,
Well, that explains it.
yeah, the asshole to the grave, that man.
He took it there.
He even sent her to the house.
Well, then he goes back, I didn't tell you to do
I didn't
this.
tell you to do that. I just told you to face your fear. But
nice touch.
when she's there, she doesn't see the house as the rotting corpse of a house that it is. She sees it with a beautiful decor, and she sees her mother's there and welcoming her in and getting her ready, and she's dressed the way she was dressed at the wedding that her brother never attended, because Shirley sends him away because he was high. And the family's happy to see her, and they're telling her everything she's ever wanted to hear, because she's estranged from her family, because she messed up things with Theo, and Steve's an ass. His name was Steve. I forgot to mention this. But he wrote a book called Haunting of Hill House. He called them all crazy. He called them all mentally ill. He's badmouthed his mother, but then stole all their stories to make a good fiction story for him. Fuck Steve. But at the very end of the reunion, she sees her brother, healthy, clean, and then behind him is her husband, and they share a final dance. And it leads her up the steps, or she follows them all up the stairs for the tea party. And she thinks she's building on the necklace, and it's a rope. And she's pushed off the ledge and hung, but then continues to fall. And she falls into the motel where she's scared, and she falls into the room where she's seeing herself in a sleep paralysis state and her dead husband. And all this time she was the bent neck lady haunting herself. Next up, we have episode 6, The Wake, where the families all come together when we meet Dad, and he's a basket case of a person. He's talking to his wife, who's dead. She's not there. And Steve continues to be an asshole ways. But it comes out that Theo took the money from him, and Shirley's husband took the money. And that was the separate bank account she found earlier. And
see, and, it was crazy. When Kevin, because that's his name, and Theo have that moment on the porch scene, she's like, you could at least told her tell her something like you're cheating.
Yeah, cheating would have been a better story than the truth.
But we still at that point of that episode did not know what she was actually referring to, because she doesn't talk about her visions. She just kind of hints at it and pieces together.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the child molester that she caught.
Yeah. But what did you see? Like when she was a kid, she was able to tell the box she was going to throw away had something valuable in it, and that child Luke wasn't lying about the basement, and she found this huge basement that wasn't part of the blueprints.
And as a kid, to solve how she did it was actually pretty intelligent for her age. Like, she's like, Luke, how many feet away? Like, she compared it. He stayed in one part of the room, and she walked, and he was like right there, and then she counts the feet, and then she goes from the elevator and counts the feet again, and does some excellent investigating to line everything up and sees it. That's, even for most adults who probably don't have no investigation background, that's impressive.
I'd have been lost. Where am I? I'd be hacking in the drywall. But where was that? The Wake. This is where also they kind of get flashbacks. Power goes out, and Theo and Kevin get separated, and Shirley goes off to find them and finds what looks like they're making out in the closet, and she storms off while Dad and Prick are arguing. And the casket falls over, and Nell's body falls out, and they'll fix it. And we're seeing flashbacks to a big storm at the house with kids, and Nell disappears, and it ends with Nell saying, "I was standing right here calling for you, and you couldn't see me." And the end of the episode is Nell's ghost standing there in front of the casket, and no one can see them. No one can see her. That's perfect symmetry there. That's wonderful storytelling. The next episode is the funeral. Shirley won't talk to Theo or Kevin. Like, at one point, he's like, Kevin, you're going to be at the hotel for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And Theo's getting evicted. And at the end of the episode, Luke gives an amazing eulogy about how she was always the one he looked up to. And she always believed in him whenever he was gone, pretty much, due to his addiction. At the end of the episode, Luke steals Shirley's credit card in Theo's car. And they see a ghost. Theo and the dad see the ghosting apparition kind of deal after they break. The ghost breaks Shirley's dream house and spends her even more over the edge than she already is. But the next episode, they get a callback from their childhood when Theo and Shirley get into like this fight. And Shirley's going to throw her out, and the banging on the doors and windows happen. And she gets a call from her credit card company. He used a card at the gas station a few miles from Hill House. He's bought gasoline and is going to try to burn the house down. And that's when the dad's trying to explain to Steve, the asshole, that we got to stop him, the houses will fight back. And Steve's calling him crazy again. And he's like, no, Steve, this house is even more dangerous for you because it doesn't like that you're ignoring it. And he has to explain to Steve that the people he wrote about seeing as a child in the book were never actually there. He never hired anyone to fix the clock, and he never built a clubhouse that he claims that Luke was in all the time. While Luke tries to burn the house down, but the fire goes out immediately, and he's knocked out. And in panic, Theo and Shirley racing to the house. The boys are racing to the house. And Shirley and Theo are arguing even more, and Nell's ghost finally breaks through, scares the hell out of them, and probably every viewer watching that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And they crash, and that's when Theo confesses that what had happened was when she touched Nell's body, she felt all of the pain and emptiness that Nell felt before she died. And it just emotionally killed her. She could not feel anything. And she was so scared in the dark that she thought this is what death feels like. But she reached out to someone in the dark, and it was Kevin who told her no. And that was when Shirley walked in. And she felt so much shame, and as bad as she felt, it was still better than the death she felt before. And that's what reunited the two. Back at the house, Dad is knocked out, and Asshole is locked in the red room. And we see that the girls arrive, they're knocked out, and moved into the red room. Run to the next episode. Prick is home. This is after the events. And he's talking to his wife that he, for 2 years, did not tell that he had a vasectomy while they're trying to have a baby. It's Prick. Full stop. But she's pregnant, and this is after the events. And he's talking about it, and he's like, I don't remember what happened in the red room. I don't even remember what happened when I get out. And she's like, of course you don't, because you didn't write it down. Obviously nothing exists and nothing's real unless you write it in your little book. And she starts, the baby's growing bigger and bigger, and she starts decaying, and she's tearing him apart, and has the best end line of like, if I go crazy and lose my mind, will it make you think of your mother? And it was, oh yes, that's good. Make him suffer. Kill him next. But he's pulled out of the delusion by Nell, who, everyone is in the red room now. The room none of them could ever get into. And Nell's jumping around from one dream state to another. Shirley is